Welcome to session 3, part 2, the very final stages of this project. A lot is going to actually happen during this session, but I'm not going to take you through each minute detail, rather give you an overview of what you should be trying to do and experimenting with on your own. And so what I'm going to start by doing is bringing in another layer of watercolor, right? And then I'm going to kind of start to focus on some of the details. And that's going to start with a little bit of watercolor in certain areas, like bringing into the city, the skyline that I have in here. Maybe some of the details of the branches in the background, some more details throughout the piece, like with the water drops around the eye, kind of starting to add a little bit of value in terms of shading with the eyelids around the eye into this water element, right? So I'm going to add another layer or two of watercolor, and then I'm going to let it dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to bring in my color pencils, and this will likely take you beyond one day's work. I suggest putting on the second layer of watercolor, maybe coming back to it later if you want to. If you work in one area and then move on down, the area you started at might be dry by the time that you finish the other area of your piece. But likely this is going to take you over another at least 3 days of work. So adding another layer of watercolor, step 1 from here. Bringing in some of the details, step 2. And then step 3 is to really finalize. And I'm going to bring in some color pencils for that to add in some details. And I might also bring in some ink or, darker pencil, kind of a 4B or 6B at the very end, just to give me some dark lines around certain edges, which you could also use a black color pencil for as well. So good luck with this. Watch the process kind of formulate through the time-lapse video I'm about to show you, and then, have at it. But obviously this is a time to be learning from, exploring, trying new things, being creative. Take some chances, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Learn from that and apply it to the future. Maybe there's a way to fix it, and we can chat about if something went wrong, how we can kind of fix that one-on-one. So good luck with this, and as always, have fun. Okay, so I have added another layer of watercolors, doing a little bit more details in some areas, thinking about where my lines are going to be, looking behind the watercolor and seeing my very lightly sketched lines, which are starting to fade more back into space. And they might be in some cases a little bit hard to see, but that's kind of a good thing because I'm going to make some decisions eventually in a little bit with the details, and I don't want you to see necessarily the sketch lines in the background, right? So I've added another layer, done some more shading and value additions, and letting it dry for a little bit. And then I'm going to come back to do a couple more elements, maybe add in a little bit of grays, because for the most part, I'm pretty close to being done with adding the colors that I wanted to add. I'm going to do a little bit more down here, but I'm going to start bringing in those other values, and then eventually color pencils and some details in a moment as well. So giving it a sec to dry, coming back on it. Again, this could be from one day to the next day, or you could just go take a break for a little bit and come back and keep working. It's up to you, but I just want you to notice the stages, the patience that's involved in this process. You just have to be a little patient to build those values over time. And now we're going to kind of start moving into those real final details. Okay? Have fun. It's time to start working on the final elements of your project. For the most part, we'll be done with the watercolors, so you can put them aside. And you want to pull out your color pencils. You might want to pull out some darker pencils like a 4B or 6B pencil as well. And you can even use your Sharpie or other pens to add some final details, lines, and dark areas if that's what you choose to do with your project at the end. Perhaps your piece is more design driven, more shapes and interesting patterns. You know, using a Sharpie and outlining those patterns and elements of your eye might be a really good solution for the final moves on your project. But again, this is really the final step. This should take you either 1 or 2 class periods, depending on what you're going to be doing. And, you know, this is about adding these little details, getting some value elements in, and really just bringing it all together, making it pop in powerful ways. So let's get to work, shall we? Something I really want to point out while you're using the color pencils is, again, we went over this before, but is layering. How I'm trying to layer colors on top of each other to make it feel more rich and smooth. So if I take like some red and I put it up here and I just kind of layer it lightly over this already, you know, darker red area, right? I can take my orange and go over that to kind of smooth it out and lighten it up a little bit. I could also take my yellow to do that as well, to kind of even add another element, a lighter element over that, to kind of like smooth it out. But the trick is that you're layering different colors on top of each other. So if I put down a layer of orange first, and then I come and push a little bit harder with my yellow on top of that, it smooths it out and creates a value shift and makes the colors feel more rich as well. So keep that in mind when you're working with the color pencils. And you can also work on top of different colors. So if I were to put a blue down, you know, over in this area, let's say, I could come in with like a yellow to kind of mix on that, shift that color. I can come back over it with another blue. That is just a process of layering these different colors over and over and over again on top of each other until you get the values that you want. And you can take this as deep as you want with your details. And good luck.